Alright, I'm going to start with the pots. I obtained these pots by ordering them from Safeway on DoorDash. There are 2 of them, and the reason I ordered them is our car was broken down at the time, and I wanted new pots to use on my new stove. So this is my new stove, and there is one issue. If there is any wetness or moisture on the bottom of anything you put on the stove, it rusts, as you can see, immediately. So here is a bowl of radishes. And I did something awful. I accidentally left the radishes sitting on the counter overnight, and they started drying out. So I put them with the roots in this bowl of water, and in just like half an hour, maybe less than half an hour, they're already like completely rehydrated. But what's cool is they're sprouting leaves and growing. So when I saw these radishes sprouting leaves and growing, I started to think about something. I started to think about that heap of weeds down the street growing in that mound of dirt, and how yesterday I was lifting up some plant that's like a wild mustard or a wild brassica to show how the root was really big. And I was going to explain, if the root had been rotten, I would have washed it off and explained that if you were starving, you could eat them, and they might be tough and bitter, but would probably actually taste something like a daikon. So when I was going through my seed collection, I found this old expired bag of daikon seeds that's like from China, and there's actually daikon seeds still in it. Yesterday I said that I was thinking of going down there and planting Osaka Purple Mustard, but I'm thinking that daikons would be a great thing to grow in that mound of dirt, because they're really hard to dig up from underground, because they can grow like a few feet long, and the tops look very similar to those wild mustards. I don't think anyone walking by would say, "Oh, that's a wild mustard and that one's a daikon." I think they would just say, "That's the same mound of dirt and weeds that's been there, and there's more weeds growing out of it." So I was thinking of going down there with the Osaka Purple Mustard seeds and the daikon seeds and just like tossing them into the pile. I've got some other seeds for other things, like Calendula, which is actually Calendula, but everyone around here calls it Calendula. So I could throw some Calendula seeds. I actually collected the Calendula seeds from, believe it or not, the community garden. When we went there, it was either on Eugene or Evelyn's birthday, one of our children's birthdays. It was like, just like the way it was when I filmed it yesterday. But it was at the time they were telling me all the pots were rented, and the only thing growing that looked interesting at all was a giant calendula plant that was going to seed. So I grabbed a handful of the seeds and shoved them in my purse. And if anyone is wondering where I obtained something like this, well, every time I used to go to San Francisco, I would go to Chinatown and try to buy as much food as possible in Chinatown, especially things that were really expensive or not obtainable here. And I was walking around Chinatown, and I had just bought all these vegetables, and I had just eaten at a restaurant and ordered dishes with all those vegetables in them to give me an idea of how to cook them. And as I was walking through Chinatown, I walked into a store that had postcards of Chinatown because I wanted to buy a postcard to send to somebody. And I saw these. I saw like a stand of like giant seed packages that were completely full of seed that were meant for like Chinese farmers. And I bought one of each, of every single one of them, basically. They have instructions that we have translated in the back that describe how to grow like fields of the plants the seeds are for. Like that probably says something like plow your field and spread the seed in this manner and come back and harvest it at this time or something like that. Like, these were not meant for home gardeners, and I know that because of the instructions we translated and because of like the amount of seed. Like, it's enough to plant like acres. I think it even said in the instructions when we translated them like how many acres of daikon you could grow. It's so interesting. And even though they're expired by like years, they're like seeds for something in the brassica family. They basically don't expire. I might have gotten these like 10 years ago. I don't know, maybe there's a date on them. Maybe more than 10 years ago. Is there a date? I don't know, I don't speak Chinese. I'm not sure. Somebody who speaks Chinese tell me. I think it says, I don't know. I can't see anything, any date in English. There's a few of their seed packages. The interesting thing is, this company still exists. When they do sell these online, you could like find something just like this online, like packed for this year. And by the way, I would like to apologize. Do you hear it? The rumbling sound? It's a dehumidifier that we have to run in here because it is so moist. And if we do not run it, my house will get ruined.